Next up on Boring Gear Reviews, we have the Death by Audio Space Bender. I'm going to give a shout out and thanks to Sean, friend of mine, friend of the show, member of the channel, for sending me the Space Bender to borrow. All right, so what we have here is a chorus, flanger, delay, reverb, phaser type of a thing here. In true Death by Audio fashion, they take a concept which is very familiar, something like chorus or flanger or phaser and delay, and then really kind of put it on its end and approach it from a totally unique place to make a completely new and individual type of effect. And that's super tricky to do with something like a chorus where, it didn't exist at one time, and then the idea through experimentation and through, trial and error and happenstance and, random chaos, it emerges, chorus does. And then it becomes such a staple, it then becomes very challenging to look at and approach it in a new way. But that is something Death by Audio does very well. They look at an effect that already exists and is very, very kind of embedded and ingrained into all of our play styles, our, memories, our, lexicon, and then they kind of push it forward in like a very different and cool way. So for controls, we have speed. This will control the speed of the LFO, also the sensitivity of the envelope, the length of the delay time. So just with the speed control, you can vary between, flanger, chorus, short delay, long delay. The harder you hit, the more warbly it gets. There's a lot that's going on with just the speed control. Next, we have depth, and that'll control the depth of the LFO or envelope, but it'll also control the feedback of the delay. On the left-hand side of the pedal, we have 3 switches. The first one is delay time, and there are 2 settings, times1 and times 10. And that just sets, in times 1, you'll have like a very short delay time, times 10 is 10 times that. Next, we have modulator, and here we have LFO and envelope, and this will set the main source of the modulation. So we have a sine wave oscillator in the LFO setting, and then an envelope in the envelope setting. And lastly, we have intensity for low and high. So here is just kind of how intense the effect is. In the low setting, it's a little more subtle, a little more, I hate to use the word traditional, but you can get a little more traditional sounds when it's in the low setting. And in the high setting, it gets way more intense, way more aggressive, and sometimes even obscene, like big pitch warbles up and down and huge kind of, sweeping Doppler effect type stuff. It gets really gnarly there. True bypass mechanical foot switch, top jacks and DC, and then we have an internal gain control to set the output of the pedal. For today's demo, I will be using my 2023 Mule Resophonic Mulecaster. And from there, we'll be running into my Universal Audio Apollo X6, and then into the Softube JMP 2203 amp plugin. All right, in this first clip, we're going to start with the non-human audio Unclean. If you'd like to see a full demo of the Unclean, click the link right here. And that'll be providing just a little bit of drive and push into the Space Bender. And here we're going for a slightly tinny chorus sound. It's very lush, but there's like a kind of like a resonance that almost wants to feed back that is really beautiful and satisfying. It makes a beautiful sound, like almost a little chaotic, or like it has a little bit of an edge. Super awesome. So we're going to have delay time at times 1. We're going to be in the envelope setting and the intensity at high. We're going to have the speed at noon, and then the depth at the depth is numbered, so I'll just use the numbers instead of the clock. So the depth will be at 4. And lastly, we'll be running into the Meris Mercury7 for a little bit of plate reverb right at the end. So like I said, lush, beautiful sound with a little bit of something that is taking it out of like traditional chorus. It's a very cool and unique take on chorus. So enjoy. Okay, in this next clip, we're going to start with the Space Bender, and here we're going to have the delay time at ×1. We're going to be in the envelope setting again with the intensity at low. We're going to have the speed at 9 o'clock and then the depth at the 7 marker. And from there, we're going to be feeding it into the unclean, and here we're going to have it set much more distorted. Something I really dig about this is the way the Space Bender is, when you have the distortion after, you get almost like a slapback delay with the modulation. It makes for like a really cool, very kind of chaotic and like angsty sound. So where a lot of choruses can get very pretty, this one does get pretty, but it also gets more kind of intense, more aggressive, more like in your face. And it really makes for when you're doing like long bends with slow release that you get this drag behind it. It's super satisfying and like one of my favorite sounds and feelings when I play. All right, and in this next clip, we're going to have the delay time at ×10. We're going to have the modulator at LFO and the intensity on high. We're going to have the speed around 1 o'clock and then the depth at the 5 position. And that'll be going into the unclean again. So here what we get is this awesome, like a lush chorus with this beautiful delay. So what's really rad is it's just these two pedals. It sounds like there's a reverb and like a stereo spreader and all these things going on, but it's literally just the Space Bender and the unclean. What's really kind of like caught me off guard and really amazed me was the delay. When it gets heavier, when I start digging in harder, it gets more intense, but the delay becomes like, there's almost like a tremolo effect to it. There's just the way the rate and how choppy it is. It made it so interesting to play. I can't think offhand of a delay that sounds like that or like this. It definitely has its own unique thing that was like super musical and like I said, just really exciting. Like for me, this would be a pedal that I could use in so many instances where I wouldn't necessarily think a chorus would fit. And it works equally well clean as it does distorted, as it does light pick attack, heavy pick attack, low notes, big chords, high notes. Anyway, enjoy. And just a quick heads up, for whatever reason in this clip, I forgot to mention that about halfway through, I'm going to reverse the modulator and intensity switches. So I also didn't shoot that in the B-roll, but anyway, it's happening. All right, so we're going to start with the unclean in the chain again. It'll be off in the first section and then very noticeably on in the second. And that'll be feeding into the Space Bender. And here we'll have the delay time ×10, the modulator in the envelope position, and the intensity low. We're going to have the speed around noon or 1, and we're going to max the depth. So you hear the super pretty, somewhat tinny kind of modulated sound in the beginning, and then when the unclean comes on, it's driving. So it's attacking the envelope modulator of the Space Bender, which is going to cause all of these pitch variations. And in this case, it's going to cause these like big dive bombs. So rad. And you'll also notice here, it really blurs the line between chorus, flanger, and phaser. It doesn't need really to be defined. It's a modulation. And lastly, we're going to go for a more traditional chorus sound. So we're going to have the delay time times 10, the modulator in the LFO position, and the intensity low. We're going to do the speed around 9 o'clock, 9:30, and the depth will be at the 8 position here. And we're going to feed that into the unclean about halfway through. So like I said, just gorgeous, lush, just a beautiful chorus sound with a little bit of delay, and which creates a little bit of reverb. And then when the unclean comes in and you get that distortion, it just really opens up and you still get this like a little bit of a slap back feeling. It just sounds so huge, but very clear. It doesn't, sometimes distortion and chorus can get really muddy. I didn't feel that way here. It stayed very, tight is the wrong word. I guess that's like too clinical, but like it stays very focused. And that's a wrap for the Death by Audio Space Bender. You know, Sean sent this and a couple other pedals over, and I did them all on a live stream. If you were there, you kind of saw how crazy and how amazed I was by these pedals. My initial impression was that this pedal is amazing. And then after more time with it and then doing this video, it hasn't changed. It's only like increased in that feeling. This is a really, really cool and very special pedal. It is not a traditional chorus. If you're looking for, you know, a traditional style chorus, I wouldn't necessarily think this is the one. But if you're looking for a unique and amazing approach to chorus, something that does more and will really push you out of your boundaries, away from your comfort zones, and lead you to places that you'll hopefully create, you know, more interesting stuff. This is a great choice for that. It'll really pull some awesome stuff out of you. And you can hear more sounds on that live stream. If you were there, you heard them. If not, the live streams are available for like a day, and then afterwards they go to members only. So if you're a member, you can watch it. Suffice it to say, I'm sending this back and I'm sad about it. Maybe I'm not sending it back. I'll send it back. Not because I want to, but just because of society. So if you've been around this channel for a bit, you know how much I love Death by Audio stuff. This is no exception. Outstanding. If you dig the content, please consider hitting that like, subscribe, share, comment, all that stuff. It means the world to me and actually helps me out. Links for everything I'm using in the description below. Check all that stuff out. And until next time, peace.